What is up, everybody? Wraith here, Graybearded Gaming Society. We're at it again, trying to get back in here to Befallen, to get a little action, trying to see if we can at least maybe conquer the first floor this time. See if we can't maybe get the key, get to the second floor. Of course, last time ended in a slight case of running for our dear lives to the zone line. But we don't have Spirit of the Wolf this time, so the quick flight won't quite be the same option it was last time. Let's see how good we do. Let's step in the door here and see if we can carefully assassinate some of these mobs this time instead of getting the whole room on us. We've talked about it before. I'm kind of doing any dungeon can be dangerous, especially by yourself. Again, it's the game of risk versus reward. One of the things we're going to try to do this time is keep ourselves away from some of these rats. We're going to try to see if we can keep the aggro toward the pet. One of the mistakes we made last time, and man, this rat is resisting everything we're chunking at it. Our pet's going to take care of him, but man, they drug that out for as long as humanly possible. Let's sneak around over this side, let him play with the pet. But as I was saying, one of the things that we actually had forgotten to do in all of our glorious knowledge was forget to turn taunt on the pet. So he was not actually trying to taunt things for us. For the first handful of levels, you can kind of sneak by without it. But then we get to some of these situations where we actually need him to keep the ire of the bad guys away from us. Of course, he wasn't doing it because we hadn't told him to. So this time around, we get that taunt on, and hopefully our guy will take care of us here a little bit. We are going to play it, like I said, a little bit more careful this time. I mean, kind of paying attention to the pulling, making sure that we're letting the pet take the brunt of the damage, because that little DOT, I like to use it to keep things from regenerating hit points, and apparently so do the mobs. That thing kind of sucked, especially when you're trying to physically trade your hit points for mana. And if you can't get any more hit points back, the mana runs kind of slim. We'll pick up a couple little weapons here, see if we can't kind of load up our pet. Give him a little bit of artillery here. But yeah, it was these rats last time that got us, and even a little bit, to be honest with you, the little Necro guy gave us a hard time because he put that pretty nasty dot on us. So it's kind of a twofold. We're gonna have to kind of keep tabs here. But we've gotten the disease off of the pet. Like I said, we're gonna take our time, kind of sneak through here a little bit. We know we're gonna get one or two at a time, pretty much consistently, just based on how this goes. But we are really gonna try to at least make it down to the second floor. See if we can do this without dying too much. One thing I did do, we talked about it some minutes today, is when I made that hotkey button right here to just erase everything off the floor, gets it out of our way with the little auto loot function going on. We really don't have to worry about clicking on corpses all that much anymore. This guy's a little bigger. Let's send the pet at him first and get his attention. Which that is one thing that, like I said, is pretty handy. We don't necessarily have to worry so much about actually getting the corpses ourselves. The auto loot will take care of some of that for us, which is fine, and we can just kind of tidy up our area a little bit as we're going. Apparently we made friends here. So taunt or no taunt, we're still going to get a little bit of attention. That's fine. At least these guys are not going to give us crazy interesting diseases. They are going to give us a lot of resist still, though, so apparently we're going to run into that quite a bit. I think our pet will pretty much be able to handle this action. Again, talked about in the very first video, maybe it was the second. Don't really remember. One of the things that used to be is if the pet got over half of the damage on the mob, the pet would steal some of the experience. And I'm kind of okay with that. Yes, it does take away some of the overall efficiency. However, if we were going for super key efficiency here, we would really be on a live server in a tutorial, and we'd probably be level 12 by now. And that's just not as much fun as doing it this way. Let's give our pet a minute to get some hit points back here and get a little bit of mana back ourselves. So one of the things, mentioned it yesterday, that used to make this zone so very, very brutal, of course, is if you made it past the locked door and you died, and there was nobody around with a key to let you back in, no rogue who could pick the lock, or bard. Technically bards could a little bit later in life, but it could be a very, very big problem. Of course, we kind of get to bypass that this time around because we'll spawn, with all of our gear back. And again, knowing that we're going to do a ton of this adventuring solo, there's really not going to be... I don't really think I'm going to worry too much about necessarily trying to get a res unless we just happen to have somebody right close and super handy to try to do it. I'm just not sure it's going to be worth the time, effort, and energy to take it that route. So we are going to explore a little bit here. Like the last time we went to the other side, found a room full of goodness. So we're going to see what we can find on this side over here. And again, going to take our time, cruise through, beat up on these skeletons, and otherwise have a pretty good time. And the experience is going pretty good. Said we're about 60%. Yeah, 61% if you round up at 0.9. To picking up level 9. So we're still moving along pretty good. There's not really a race. Not in a hurry to get it done. Want to have some good times along the way. Am anxious, of course, to get to some of the more amusing spells, like I think most people are. Alright, so we have all kind of goodness. Let's see what happens if we send our pet right here at this rat. How many guys do we get? We get a couple. Not too bad just yet. Take out this giant rat. Let's get the pet on the plague rat. Want to make sure that we don't get the plague rat HIV again. That was just not enjoyable in the slightest. Still getting a lot of resist, which is kind of irritating. It's really kind of slowing us down. The pet's doing okay. He'll be fine. Mostly, don't want to get hit by this guy again. It was such a slow motion trying to recover from that thing last night. It was pretty brutal sitting outside for quite a while. And even when I first logged back in tonight, I actually had to sit there for about another 4 minutes to get the dot to clear, to really start gaining back some health. And of course now, so we're trying to keep our dark pact rolling, turn that health into mana, which again, can't really do that much if we're constantly being diseased. On him, and he actually doesn't have any debuff, so he's still looking pretty good. Let's see if we can give him some random weaponry, just so he can look cool here. He can be armored. And we did get some leather boots. Unfortunately, not our speed, but hopefully they'll sell for a couple of gold. If I remember correctly, and it has, I don't know how many times I can say this, one series of videos, it has been a very long time, but I remembered a set of cloth armor dropping here that was pretty good a very long time ago. What is a Zeke? I'm not seeing any other players in here, so I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure what a Zeke is. Might have to. Yeah, I'm not showing any players on the list. Needless to say, we're probably going to be leaving Zeke alone. Get any kind of snack. Can we get anything at all? There we go. Okay, so we got that side cleaned out. The plague rat got some skeleton action. I know we had Necro right here on this side. So, let's do this and hope it's not going to be an epic disaster. We're going to send our pet right in here in this corner. Let him get the ire of this Necro. So far, we're in pretty good shape. Nothing behind us aggroed. Try to get the snare on him pretty quick. See if it'll hold him off from walking away. I'm not holding my breath. As you've seen, it's not exactly the greatest snare. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of hit points here. We can try to keep our mana rolling. And he is down. So the first Necro we handled much better than one we came across yesterday. I think we're going to work our way around the room, take our time, pick these guys off one at a time. Of course, the rats run really quick. I was actually surprised at how fast the rodents try to run away. The skeletons hold their ground pretty well. And again, with these two, we're most likely going to get both. Oh, really? Oh, that's just great. Target our pet for the heal. Forgot about that. So, waste some mana there. Apparently try to heal a bad guy. So, in this situation, both about the same size. We're going to go after the plague rat first. Try to make sure we keep that that dot under control, because that's the last thing I want to mess around with here. And I'm trying hard to not use my map to find my way around in here. I kind of want some of the adventure of finding up. He's running away. Come here, you little rat bastard. He's taking off on us again. All right, he is down. Go back to the skeleton over. So as I was saying, I'm trying hard to not just solely rely on some of the mapping to find these guys and try to explore some. Because if you can't tell from when I was running away yesterday and ran the wrong way and aggroed more bad guys, you know, I do not remember all of these zones. I am nowhere close. So we know this first door is cleaned up. We got all this stuff under wraps. Now we might have some respawns outside. We do have a couple. So let's just get this stuff taken care of. Keep our runway clear in case we have to beat feet for a hasty retreat. Let's see, some more effortless pulling, so we'll take that. Oh, and this guy's kind of a little bit bigger. Should be a nice chunk of experience here. So we get some dots piled on top of him. Trim him down faster. Make sure we actually physically target the pet to heal him. Picky little thing. A heal spell that only heals your pet. Somehow you still have to target it. Well, we'll say pathing issue, and it's working as intended. How's that? Let's get our dark pact rolling. Some mana's getting kind of low. Or something can just spawn on us and interrupt us. And we'll fizzle our way to glory. There we go. Alright, one guy down. Let's work on the next one here. At least you know we'll be able to safely sit here for a few minutes. We know that the pathway behind us got really nothing fascinating for us, so we're not going to worry about shooting back down there. And we'll take care of this guy. Pet and myself at this point pretty beaten up. So let's take a little bit of a breather for the both of us here. See if we can't kind of put ourselves back together. So yeah, like I said, the one thing, you know, again with these older zones, we're going to spend a lot of time by ourselves. It is what it is. You know, I'm not expecting people to run through. You know, we're going to change our tactics to align with the fact that, you know, again, we're mostly going for solo run. And just because of where the server is at this stage, you know, most people on a server, they're going to be higher level. They're going to be in the bigger zones. You know, they're going to be doing Plains of Power. They're going to ignore these zones. And let's face it, most classes ignore these zones anyway because it's not exactly on the path of fastest possible leveling progression. You know, I remember when Plains of Power and Shadows of Lucklin even launched, and you added some of the new zones. They were just so powerful to level in, it almost wasn't worth going anywhere else. The faster you could get across to, I believe it was Charval, right outside of where the new kitten race spawned. Work your way across there, and you would. I'm trying to remember now, I'm just totally drawing a blank. But you would work your way across, and you would go through, and you could to a cavern zone. You could get to it either from the Nexus side, and you could get to it from the kitten side. And the side from the kitten started much lower. The other side had bandits on it. I'm absolutely struggling to remember what the name of that little cave was. And it was full of Recondite bandits on one side, and a lot of fungus and mushroom guys on the other side. But the experience modifier in that zone was absolutely insane. You would kill and level so fast, even in old school EverQuest. you would level so fast because it was just so much stronger. And depending on competition, which typically always was in that place, you could easily stay there from a pre-teen level, and you'd probably max out ish in the 22 to kind of 24 range. Pushing it too far past that, probably a bit of a stretch, and a lot of people use a takeoff at like 20, 21. You could stretch it a little further, especially if you had a good group where you were just rolling and you had like all the camps at the front to yourself, or the whole back camp to yourself. You could, or to your just one group. You get a ton of experience in there, but we're not in a hurry. Like I said, we're not in a hurry. All right, we're trying to kind of do the world tour. We're trying to actually decide tonight, because one of my friends that I was talking to kind of about what I was doing here, he said, well, we should go check out Crushbone and go check out the orcs and kind of old school there. And I mean, I definitely spent a ton of time in that zone. A lot of my alts when I was smaller started on the elf side. When you first tune as an elf, you tend to kind of stick together where they are, just because it was easier to kind of switch stuff back and forth between characters. Whereas this was before shared banks and everything else. You have to find that secret hidey hole somewhere in the zone that nobody else was using, and you would drop something on one tune, log out real quick, log in on the other, and pick it up. Camp them both in the same room. Don't recommend doing that. Find a friend, find somebody you can trust to help you out with that. Oh, look, another free bottle of beer. So here we go. At one point we'll drink all the beer we've saved up and we'll get hammered. But with the advent of the shared bank, of course, you didn't have to do that anymore, which is probably a good thing. That I kept doing that, it would be only a matter of time before eventually somebody would have figured out that some jackwagon is running around dropping coins on the ground. See if we can. Alright, so we got all the dots on that guy, which is nice. Got to keep our mana rolling. We are so looking forward to level 9. We can get our leech spell and kind of keep our health rolling with that life tap DOT action. Back to these hammers. There we go. Oh, this guy is also yellow. Let's throw a heal or two at our pet, see if we can't keep him in one piece, just so we don't have to totally redo him right now. I'm not sure I could face tank this guy. Of course, he's going to resist everything we're throwing at him, just to make life more complicated. Hold on, Kibben. We're trying. And he's down, and suddenly another friend. Where did the other friend come from? You're a jackwagon. Alright. Let's see if we can make it to the door. And of course, we're slightly overweight, so we're not even going to move all that fast. Let's hope for the best. We're going to make it. I think some of the pathing will work in our favor this time around. And we had been doing so well. It's almost kind of depressing that we lost our little imaginary friend there. But, tell you what we're going to do is I'm going to try to work my way back through working, clearing open the first floor, and then we're going to sit outside for a few minutes, have to res up, get a new pet summon, get some mana back. But we will take a break on this, just so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me meditate. Probably about the same as looking at your old spellbook back in the day. And when you come back, I'll have a fresh pet. We'll have him rearmed, ready to go, and we'll have cleaned out some of this trash. We'll take attempt 2 on that front room there and see what we can do. And we'll be back here in just a bit, folks. Welcome back, guys. So, unfortunately, thanks to a user error, not entirely just user error, this is going to be very bad for us. This is the guy who just ran us off before. And yeah, we are not going to be able to handle this guy. What happened when we tried to make our triumphant round back into Befallen, kind of after being run off? I'd had a nice video clip of clearing the front room and was kind of going to montage it some way into sneaking into one of the little side rooms there and start working down a new hallway. Unfortunately, user error, and I lost that footage. Unfortunately, I didn't get it corrected, so we missed the part where I had worked down one of the hallways, somehow managed, that Icebone guy managed to spawn, and while I don't have him, see if I can scroll up, we can see where I kind of conned him on the fly. He is level 14, so unfortunately for us, at 5 levels bigger and you saw how much damage he put on our pet and how fast he did it. Is we are just not going to be able to handle that guy right now, unfortunately. He's got us by 5 levels solid. And of course, we leveled, means we're even with the pet. So he is just going to be a little bit too much of a handful, and he seems to be pathing back and forth in front of the door, which is kind of going to put the kibosh, unfortunately, on tonight's adventure back in Befallen. Now, what we were able to do is clear out a couple of the hallways. We never did find the Shadow Knight to get the key to try to go to the second floor, but at the same time, if the things that we did run into are any inclination, then we probably wouldn't have been able to handle the second floor by ourselves anyway. It was still a good adventure. It was a fun time. Again, can't recount the last time I was here. What we did manage to accomplish, and thankfully not lose while a little fleet-feeted running there, was it did pick up level 9. So, of course, we now have our leech spell, which is one of the things we've been waiting for. We combine our leech with our dark pact, and that's how we helped kind of keep the life going in while we're turning the life into mana. The very handy thing about leech is while it is a little expensive up front and the mana cost at 72 mana, you get a 1-for-1 conversion. Because if you actually do a little bit of the math here, you're getting, 6 hit points every 6 seconds for 54 seconds. So 54 by 6, you're going to come out with 9. 9 times 8, you're going to get 72. So you're going to get a total, of 72 hit points. So it's a very nice 1-for-1. It's also got a pretty low resistance rate. You do a pretty good job of hitting things with it. But again, when you compare that to the life spike, which is not even a 1-to-1, you're already paying more mana than you're getting back in health. This guy is going to be an even 1-for-1. I believe it actually does get better over time. But the other advantage to this one is you can kill a mob with it, and even if the mob dies, you continue to leech those hit points, which is nice. So it just kind of keeps you going. At the first levels, at least these low levels that we have it lasts almost as long as Dark Pact anyway. So like a couple rounds of leech and the Dark Pact keeps the mana going. One of the things, of course, we haven't been very good at so far, but one of the old EverQuest mantras was always be meditating. If you don't have to stab something, if you don't have to fight something, then you need to be sitting on your tuchus and trying to get the mana back. Of course, that will compound with this, and as we go, it got a little bit better as we come into focus again, trying to get some of the fear kiting. Still anxiously waiting to fight with a little bit more style, because as we've seen, we're getting, and while our pet is still, he's only technically 2 levels old. We got him at level 8. We got all the way through 8, and now into 9. He's just gonna have a hard time tanking it, and he gets too big. So hopefully we'll keep pressing forward. We'll get to level 12 here pretty soon. Try to do some fear kiting. Got a couple places in mind. We're gonna start to try to adventure some there. But I tell you what, I think for now we're gonna call it a wrap on our little Befallen adventure here for tonight. Sorry we weren't able to get at the first floor or past the first floor on our own, but we knew it would be a bit of a struggle. We got in there, we saw it, reminded of how creepy the music is and how many skeletons can run around in one space. Maybe we'll try to sneak out and take a peek over in potentially Crushbone, another, big time newbie area, if you will, that be a little sneaky for us to get to. Make sure we don't run across any of our elf cousins who want to murder us. Maybe we get in there and cause some havoc just to be old school and see it again. We'll kind of see what happens next time. But until then, I hope everybody has a great night. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys next time.